Here's example 1. There are the 3 equations. Alright, so the first 2 that we start with are which ones? The bottom 2. So on the bottom 2 we have a -6 and a 5. What do I need to make out here? 30s. Yeah, 6 and 5. The lowest number that both will go into is 30. So what would I multiply the second equation by? 5. Yeah, we're going to multiply that one by 5. And what do I multiply the bottom one by? 6. So go through to do that and get negative 30x plus 20y plus 40z equals 140. And then by 6 on the bottom you get 30x plus 6y plus 18z equals a -24. Yes, you have to add them together because the signs are opposite on the 30s. So when you add, those cancel out and you're left with 26y plus 58z equals 116. Right, the next one here you're going to have to multiply this by 6 and then this one by 5. So we'll do that down below and get a -30x minus 54y minus 12z equals 36. And then by 5 on the second one to get a -30x plus 20y plus 40z equals another 140. Now since the signs are the same on the 30s, what do I do? Yeah, you got a minus, and when you do that, those 30s cancel out. Now don't forget it's minus, so you're doing -54 minus 20, -74y, and -12 minus 40, -54z, and 36 minus 140, a negative. Oh, -52, yeah, you're right. That's a -52 right there. And then this one minus this one would be a -104. We're going to move over to the next screen and write the first equation and then the 2 that we created. So now we should have -5x minus 9y minus 2z equals 6, and then the 2 we created are 26y plus 58z equals 116, and the last one is -74y minus 52z equals a -104. Now here are your 2 options. You can deal with 26 and 74 or 58 and 52. Now it's a shame this isn't a 78 there. If it were, you just multiply this by 3, but we can't do that. So do you want to deal with these 2 or these 2? The first ones? Alright, so don't even try to think about what the high or the lowest number is that they both go into, since they're such high numbers. All you have to do is multiply this one by 74 and then this one by 26, and that'll even it out. We multiplied through by 74 here and 26 there, so we could get 1924s out here on the y's. When you add together, these cancel out, and 4292 minus 1352, that's the same as plus a negative, should come up with 2940z. And then 8584 minus 2704, that's the same as plus a negative 2704. You should get 5880. And this will work out really neat because 5880 divided by 2940 should come out to be 2. Once you can make it to z equals 2, then it's just a matter of solving backwards from there. So now we need the first equation again, negative 5x minus 9y minus 2z equals 6. The second one that we made is 26y plus 58z equals 116, and we just found z to be equal to 2. So from here we can solve backwards and plug that 2 in for z. That's 26y plus 58 times 2 equals 116. 26y plus, and that should be a 116, equals 116. And when you move that 116 to the right, you're going to subtract it, and it comes out to be 0. So clearly y is going to be equal to 0. We have z equals 2, y equals 0. You have to plug those two back into the top equation and come out with an answer for x. Now in the first equation we're going to plug in z equals 2 and y equals 0. So there's the 0 for y and the 2 for z. And we're going to solve this one. Yeah, that should have just been a 6. I was looking at the wrong equation. It's just a 6. I can't do anything but scratch that out. Negative 5x minus 0 minus 4 equals 6. The left side just simplifies to negative 5x minus 4. And you're going to move the minus 4 to the right, make it plus. Comes out to be a 10. And then divide 10 by negative 5 to get a negative 2. So we had negative 2 for x, 0 for y, and 2 for z. We're going to multiply by 7 on the bottom, so you should have 7x minus 2y minus 5z equals negative 28 that stays the same from the second equation, and then 7x minus 56y plus 35z equals negative 14 on the second one. The signs are the same, so you have to subtract. And when you subtract, you're going to end up with a negative 2 plus a 56, which is a 54, a very poorly written 54. Y, and then negative 5 minus 35 is a negative 40. Z, and then negative 28 minus a negative 14 is a negative 14, same as plus 14. Well, next up we're going to multiply by 7 here and then 2 here. So you should end up with negative 14x plus 21y plus 35z equals 14. Then on the middle one you'll have 14x minus 4y minus 10z equals a negative 56. And you'll have to add those because the signs are opposite out here. So 21 plus a negative 4, that's 17. And 35 plus a negative 10 is 25. And 14 plus a negative 56, that's going to be a negative 42. Alright, so we should have negative 2x plus 3y plus 5z equals 2, and then the ones we made were 54y minus 40z equals negative 14, and then 17y plus 25z equals a negative 42. Now, where did you go from there? Okay, so we multiplied here by 17, here by 54, and came up with signs that are the same out here, so they cancel out. Then you're going to need a negative 680 minus 1350, and you should come up with a negative 2030, and then negative 238 plus 2268. That would be 2030. So you should have 0 for z. That's embarrassing, and I'm not ashamed to record that. That should be a negative 1. 2030 divided by negative 2030 would be negative 1. You're going to need that first equation, and that's negative 2. Poorly written, negative 2x plus 3y plus 5z equals 2, and then the second one is 54. Y minus 40, z equals negative 14, and we found z to be equal to not 0 but negative 1, and we got to plug this back in right here. So 54y minus 40 times a negative 1 equals negative 14. That simplifies to plus 40, which you will have to move to the right side and make that minus 40. And this works out neatly. That should be a 54 there. Comes out to 54y equals a negative 54. So y is also a negative 1. So we have two negative 1s that we have to use up here in this equation. So that should be negative 5, not negative 5, negative 2x plus 3 times a negative 1 plus 5 times a negative 1 equals 2. That simplifies to minus 3 minus 5, which will also simplify to a negative 8. And then you move that to the right side, make it plus, turns out to be a 10, and that's a negative 2x that I left out there. Negative 2x times negative 5 would be positive 10. So our answers are negative 5, negative 1, negative 1.